You didn't choose that opinion, you just saw it. Enough time. Think about it. You open your phone in the morning, still with that face like you just got punched in the pillow, coffee in hand, crooked underwear, and before you even say good morning to any real human being, you're already scrolling through your feed. Then the show begins. Everyone's outraged about the same thing. Everyone's loving the same artist. Everyone's using the same slang that nobody used last week, and that nobody will. Remember, in 2 months, everyone has the same opinion on the same subject that nobody really understood until yesterday. And then you think, wow, what an incredible coincidence. It seems like everyone arrived at the same conclusion at the same time, completely independent. Congratulations, Einstein. This isn't a coincidence. This has a name, and that name is the herd effect. The herd effect is basically your brain making the following ultra-modern calculation. If a lot of people agree, then it's probably right. Not because there's evidence, not because it makes sense, but because when you hear the same thing repeatedly enough times, the brain starts to register it as familiar truth. And familiar, for your nervous system, is practically synonymous with safe. This isn't weakness. This is evolution. The problem is that evolution didn't update its firmware when the internet was invented. Let's be honest about how this works in practice, because it's too elegant a mechanism to ignore. The social media algorithm, built by very intelligent people who decided to use all that intelligence to maximize the time you spend looking at the screen, shows you what's already performing well, what already has likes, what already has shares, what's already generating a reaction. It doesn't show what's true. It shows what's popular, and popular feeds on more popular. You engage, the content spreads more people engage, and suddenly, that opinion that 3 days ago belonged to half a dozen angry people on the internet seems to be the general consensus of American civilization. You're not seeing reality. You're seeing reality amplified by what generated the most clicks in the last 48 hours. Now comes the part that hurts a little. Your brain was literally programmed to follow the crowd. For millennia, humans survived in groups. Those outside the group lived in the wrong cave, ate the wrong plants, encountered the wrong predator. Following collective behavior was literally a survival strategy. The problem is that today, your primitive ancestor, living deep in your prefrontal cortex, can't distinguish between a saber-toothed tiger and a viral tweet with 200,000 likes. For it, the logic is the same. Many people are doing it, so it's the way to go. But today, the path doesn't lead you away from the predator. It leads you to more screen time, more anxiety, and less independent thought, progress. And the signs that you're trapped in this system are so subtle that most people never stop to notice. You agree with things without questioning because everyone around you also agreed. And questioning seems laborious and a little boring. You share information without checking because it seems obvious. Everyone already knows. Why would you be the only idiot who didn't? You feel a strange discomfort when you think differently from the majority. That feeling that maybe you're wrong simply because you're alone in this. This also has a technical name. It's called social conformity. And on social media, this mechanism is turbocharged because you're not just seeing what your friends think. You're seeing what an algorithm decided you should see from your friends, filtered by what generated the most engagement, in a bubble that gradually closed while you thought you were getting informed. Here's the part that most videos on this subject don't address clearly enough. You're not forming opinions. You're adopting opinions that have been pre-selected by a system designed to keep you engaged, not to make you smarter or more informed. Every time you open an app and come away with a strong opinion on a subject you knew nothing about before, it's worth stopping for 2 seconds and asking, did I arrive at this conclusion myself, or did it arrive prepackaged and pre-digested? Because there's a huge difference between thinking and simply receiving. And there's another detail that almost no one mentions. This process isn't slow. It's incredibly fast. In less than a week, an argument you'd never considered can become a conviction you defend in family discussions at Sunday dinner. You don't know exactly when you absorbed it. You have no clear memory of the moment you decided to believe it. It simply began to seem true, as if it had always been. And then you replicate it, share it, defend it, and without realizing it, you become just another node in the network amplifying the same content that entered your head through volume. Not quality. It's too efficient to be an accident. It's a system, and systems have owners, they have objectives, and they have an interest in keeping you within them. Think about the last time you changed your mind about something important. Now think, did you change because you found new evidence, a solid argument, a real experience that forced you to revise what you thought? Or did you change because the environment around you was changing and you went along with it, naturally, without friction, without even noticing the shift? If the second option seems more familiar than the first, congratulations, you have just identified the herd effect working in retrospect, which is, let's face it, a level of self-awareness that most people never reach because they never stop to ask themselves this question. And the quietest consequence of all this, the one no one notices because it happens slowly, is that you start to lose your originality. Not all at once, not dramatically. It just becomes increasingly comfortable to think within the boundaries of what has already been collectively approved. It becomes increasingly difficult to defend a position that doesn't have an army of likes behind it. It becomes increasingly rare to have an opinion that you truly built, questioned, tested, and defended on your own. And the problem isn't that you eventually agree with the crowd. The problem is when you stop being able to distinguish when you truly agree and when you simply stopped questioning because it was easier. The crowd has a sense of certainty, a gravity of its own. When everyone is going in one direction, swimming against the current seems absurd, seems arrogant, seems like you're the only one who didn't get the message. And sometimes you really didn't. But sometimes the whole crowd is wrong and nobody noticed because everyone was looking to the side instead of looking ahead. This has happened with financial trends, with consumer behavior, with cultural movements, with entire political cycles. History is basically a long archive of cases where the majority was convinced of something that later became ridiculously wrong. And in each of those moments, the people within the cycle were as right as you feel now. If you truly want to understand how this system works, not just the surface, but the mechanisms behind it, the structures that keep you spinning inside the bubble without you realizing, stick with us, because this is just the beginning of the conversation. You think you're thinking for yourself, and maybe you are, but maybe you're just thinking louder, along with everyone else, and confusing volume with truth.